Oyez! 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 Most kind mistresses and most distinguished gentlemen, gather close to your screens, whether big or small, and pay heed to these words. Whereas the good people of Alexandria, in the Commonwealth of Virginia, in these somewhat United States of America, are accustomed to gathering in our city's most beautiful gardens to partake in song, spirit, and substance. Whereas the most novel coronavirus has rendered such large gathering imprudent. Whereas Maestro James Ross of the estimable Alexandria Symphony Orchestra is an unstoppable creative tsunami for bringing the finest orchestral notes and musicians to our discerning ears, even amidst the wildest of tumultuous times. Whereas the name Garden Sounds doth suggest the need for both gardens and sounds and a combustible connection between them, now, therefore, let it be known that on this day, June the 21st, in the year of our Lord 2020, we do hereby welcome you by way of the two of you to this evening's festivities. Oyez, oyez, the notes that COVID-19 cannot quarantine, and the welcoming words of our most gracious host.
Good evening. I'm Donnie Wintermute, and I'd like to welcome you to the very first virtual Alexandria Symphony Orchestra Garden Party. Yes, I know it's a big disappointment that we can't all be together this evening enjoying one another's company, but we cannot let the coronavirus get us down. Tonight, we have wonderful music for you to enjoy. So I would suggest that you get a glass of wine or perhaps 2 glasses of wine, sit back and enjoy the evening. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you, Donnie. My name is Melinda Wilcox, and I'm president of the Alexandria Symphony Orchestra's Board of Trustees. The connection between nature and music was the inspiration for tonight's concert. During the pandemic, I found that both nature and music have provided comfort and hope. So even though we can't be together in Donnie's lovely garden this evening, watching our ASO musicians perform there is especially fitting and joyous. Music has also been an important source of unity and understanding during times of turmoil. We can see this very clearly in the students who participate in our ASO Simpatico program at John Adams Elementary and Patrick Henry K-8 school. After schools closed in March, we shifted Simpatico to online sessions. And over the past few months, the students have created some amazing compositions, which you can find on the ASO's Facebook page and website. We adults can learn a lot from them about working together, creating fearlessly, and speaking the truth. Garden Sounds is the ASO's only fundraising event this season, and we hope that you will consider making a donation of any amount by texting Garden Sounds to 703-991-4171. That's Garden Sounds to 703-911-4171. or visiting our website, alexsym.org. That's alexsym.org. I am proud that Alexandria has a professional orchestra of the caliber of the ASO. And I'm proud of what we're doing for the lives and families of roughly 200 young students who depend on us for daily before and after school music instruction. Please join me and our generous sponsors to make sure that the ASO can remain a vital part of our community. Again, you can text the words Garden Sounds to 703-991-4171 or visit our website to make a donation. Thank you.
Hi everybody. That beautiful little tune I just played is called Umoja. Umoja is actually a Swahili word that means unity, and the piece was written by an American composer and flutist named Valerie Coleman. And she wrote it as a kind of anthem for unity in our world. When this piece was performed last fall by the Philadelphia Orchestra, it was actually, and strangely, the first orchestral piece by an African-American woman ever to be played by that historic orchestra. Like the idea of joy or Freude in Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, with the help of Schiller, unity as an idea, in this case, is not just a state that we're celebrating being in, but it's actually aspirational. It's something that has to be constantly worked towards and achieved. It's not a noun, it's a verb. We at the ASO are committed with our full hearts and minds and resources to harnessing the strange power of music to help create a more just and a more unified world. Our world seems to be crying out for that justice and unity at this moment in 1,000 ways. Music connects us to our community, to our audience, through the lives of our players, and to the young lives of our simpatico kids who will show such fullness of promise. As many of you know, we are part of an ongoing and somewhat late-breaking wave in classical music to promote the voices of composers and artists whose work has remained unfairly suppressed or ignored for whatever reason. Featuring the great music of women composers like Fanny Mendelssohn and Jennifer Higdon, black composers like William Grant Still and Florence Price, and just a huge diversity of musical voices generally, this has been and will continue to be a primary value for us. As we continue to reach out to the Alexandria community, we hope you know that in supporting the ASO, you're supporting a cause that in our own small and somewhat humble way, we hope will help make a real difference in the world for equity and create joy. On this beautiful Sunday afternoon with the sun shining, I just want to thank you for being part of the Alexandria Symphony family. And I hope that garden sounds with all the strange noises and colors you see, and the contributions of friends both far and wide, that this is all just weirdly fun for you.
Hello, I'm Justin Wilson, mayor of the city of Alexandria. In 1943, it was a George Washington High School music teacher who founded the Alexandria Symphony Orchestra. 77 years later, the Alexandria Symphony continues to serve the education and cultural needs of our community. Although we can't gather today in person and enjoy the music of the symphony, we can still support the symphony and the important work they are doing. Thank you so much for contributing and supporting the Alexandria Symphony during this time. I look forward to being back together with you when we can celebrate and enjoy the music together.
Oh, Shenandoah, I'd really like to see you. And there's another person that I'd love to see, which is my great friend, Alan Gilbert. Really happy to introduce Alan to you all today. Alan is the present music director of the Elbe Philharmonie in Hamburg, and he's the past music director of the illustrious New York Philharmonic. And I'm just so happy, he's an old friend of mine, I'm so happy to come into conversation with Alan via the magic of Zoom. Alan, welcome to Garden Sounds.
Very much fun to see you, Jim, as always, and so happy to be here.
Well, thank you very much. So Alan and I go back a long ways, and I thought we could start by just maybe sharing a little bit how we met and maybe also why we met. Whatever your memories of that are. I think we have similar memories because it was an amazing experience in Adam's house. But what was that all about? Us meeting?
It was very soon after I arrived at Harvard as a freshman that I heard your name, and I remember very clearly it was Ben Loeb who started talking about you because you were the music tutor in Adam's house, and I basically didn't even know what Adam's house was, and I didn't know what a music tutor was, but I knew what music was, and Ben said, "Oh, there's an amazing musician. He was an incredible horn player. He was principal horn of the Leipzig Gewandhaus Orchestra, and he's a great conductor. And now he's the music tutor in Adam's house. You have to meet him. I think you guys would really get along." And he built you up, and there's no way to overdo it because you're even more impressive in real life than any possible introduction could imply. But in my sort of impressionable freshman mind, it was even, I think, before classes started. It was really one of the very first things that I remember from that initial contact in college. You were this kind of mythical figure, and I was very excited to meet you and quite intimidated and also eager to impress, and insecurity and bravado, all those things that are wrapped up in a lot of young freshmen, I guess. But anyway, we we did meet, and you were all that, and I mean, you can talk about it too, but I think it was pretty volatile from the beginning. We were I think both trying to impress each other in a way, and it made a huge impression on me. And what you did go through Harvard College as an instrumentalist and someone who then started to try out conducting, and then who launched into the real world of music at the highest level, was exactly what I wanted to do. And so it was very meaningful to see that it was possible to do, and to do with such panache. But we also, along the way, somehow accidentally became like best friends. So
we did, which is just amazing. So from my point of view, I'm almost exactly the same. You remember Yoon Sun Lee? There was a pianist in Lowell House who said, there's this amazing freshman violinist who's really interested in conducting too. His name is Alan Gilbert. Why don't you come and hear him play the Messiaen Quartet for the End of the Time? I think that was one of the first projects that you may have done.
Almost right away in my freshman year. Yeah,
that's right. So you were ending time as soon as you got there. So things were beginning and ending for you. And I went to the performance, and I'm like, my goodness, this guy must come from a musical family. And in fact, I just discovered there was a certain culture and richness and depth of commitment, right from, that's always been with you, Alan, through every instrument and figuration that you make music in. And that was just so fun, and that you ended up coming to Adam's house, and that we were able to sort of bond around music early on. Is just beautiful. And I started coming down. You would invite me down to come down to see Philharmonic concerts, because Alan's parents both play in the New York Philharmonic, or played at that point. And that was the era of Bernstein. And we would have these even road trips down to hear Bernstein do various things. And I just have this sense that our friendship, or our bond, was kind of, it didn't really, wasn't dependent on age or anything else. It was just sort of around the topic of music itself somehow. Can you tell us what your cap is? Who is YS?
It's a Japanese baseball team. Baseball is huge in Japan, and I became a passionate fan of the Yakuruto Swallows. In one day, because I went with a friend of mine and his family to a baseball game last summer with my son Estra. It was just Estra and me in Japan. I was doing concerts, and we went to a professional baseball game, and it's all about team spirit there. And it's very strange, because the fans for one baseball team sit on one side of the stadium, and the fans for the other team sit on the other side of the stadium. Okay. And everybody goes in with some kind of swag, a hat or a shirt or something. You have to proclaim your allegiance to one team or the other. And it's really weird, because when your team is at bat, you cheer for all your worth. But when the other team is at bat, you sit quietly. That's the protocol. It's very, very strange. And I say you cheer for all your worth. In fact, there are organized cheers and their chants. Each player on each team has his own song.
Amazing.
And on the websites for the teams, you can study the songs and learn them. And they're complicated. They're not just like little stupid ditties. They're actually very involved. And so when whoever is at bat, the whole half of the stadium sings that person's song, and it's rhythmically complex and has lots of words and things. And virtually everybody knows every song for every player. But anyway, I was sitting. Yeah, it was incredible. I was sitting with Yakuruto Swallows fans, so I felt like I had to buy a hat, and Esther bought a hat, and ever since then I'm a diehard Yakuruto Swallows fan.
You've just given me the great idea for an orchestra, though. Like that every player puts up like their favorite tune, like on their website, and then there's actually a sort of procession when people come out on stage at the beginning of the concert. A bassoon player will appear, and I'd like our Alexandria Symphony audience to sing the bassoon players, beginning of the Rite of Spring or something like that, since that's what they put up there. So we'll come up with a good project that turns an orchestra into the Yakuriti Swallows.
It's actually not a dumb idea, because it's I mean, not that any idea you have had is ever dumb, but you know what I'm saying. I mean, no, but like orchestras do this. They try to say meet the musicians, and they have a little bio, and they try to say, okay, and in his spare time likes to like knit or do whatever. But actually, anything you do to create that personal connection, so that the players are not just these kind of mythical objects that you see on the stage from afar, but actually are why not?
And it sort of improves the life of the player themselves. They are somebody. They have a voice, and they're putting that voice in the in the service of the collective, and that's the orchestras that sound the best.
Yeah, I mean, but that's actually what's been happening now, because you see orchestras have been asking their players to create content for the internet.
Right.
And I see players that I would never expect to put themselves forward as soloists, playing a Bach suite on the violin or a cello, and they're just standing up and playing it. And I offer this, you'll see someone who's, you never heard them say one word in real life, and then they start speaking to the camera saying, I'd like to dedicate this performance to the the health workers on the front lines, and then they play, and it's just so moving. They are individuals, and each one has something very, very special to offer.
So music has this amazing thing to give everybody the possibility to show and become aware of their own uniqueness or something. And I just think that's one of the incredible things that music can do.
Hi, it's just me, Paula Poundstone. I'm rehearsing because I'm supposed to play Danny Boy with the Alexandria Symphony Orchestra at their Garden Sounds event on June 21st at 5 o'clock. I am so nervous. I'm glad I don't play the clarinet, because I don't think I have enough spit to moisten my reed. Oh my gosh. Maestro James Ross says that they're gonna play it in a different key. I don't have a different key. You mean I don't start with the red one? What am I gonna do? I can't even get dressed. I think I'm just gonna have to watch on June 21st at 5 o'clock. That'll be nice. Oh, I wish I was just sitting on the piano bench with Maestro James again.
Looking at there, it's a program.
This is the Alexandria Symphony Orchestra 75th anniversary. Join us as we welcome James Ross.
That's me. That's weird that I
James
would be
Ross
on that thing.
He's a good-looking guy. James Ross I think we met when we were 2.
And we did meet when we were
In
2.
Sudbury,
yeah.
Massachusetts.
Yeah, that's right.
Grew up my best and certainly oldest friend for many, many years. And we spent many years sitting at the piano, and Jim's house was always filled with classical music when I was growing up. And I was born in Alabama, and my parents are from the South, so I was more of a Johnny Cash girl, really. And I have to say, none of the classical stuff rubbed off.
But your daughter plays violin, right?
She does play violin, and she's great. But that's probably the most steeped in classical music that I've ever been, is from my daughter playing the violin. I mean, Jim played it around me all the time growing up. I did my best to get him not to do it.
That's right.
We were like Schroeder and Lucy. I wanted him to come out and play kickball and kick the can, and he just kept practicing.
Practicing the horn at that point. I didn't really practice the piano so much.
Some piano.
But I would sit at the piano.
Yeah, and he played the French horn a lot. And you know how much fun it is to sing along to a French horn. Woo! Party at the Ross's house. We actually did. We had great.
We did have great parties.
Yeah, we did have great parties.
Both
A great
of our
kick the
houses.
can, a lot of ping pong.
And we also had a singing group together called the Hillbilly Seven, which your mom really wanted us to do.
I think that was influenced by the southern
There we go.
southern neighbors, the Hillbilly Seven.
It wasn't bluegrass. It was just more country, right?
It was, you know what? It was during the it was during the Glenn Campbell, the
Right.
really powerful Glenn Campbell years.
Right.
So we did sing "Gentle on My Mind."
Yeah.
I
We sang
forget-
Stu Ball was a racehorse.
Oh yeah, which by the way, to this day, I'm not all that amused by, but it's just so slow. Oh, Stu Ball was a racehorse. That was influenced by my sister, who was sort of
yeah.
she was sort of the leader.
That's right, she
My
was the-
sister Peggy,
And she was one of the guitar players. I also played guitar.
And then later they found she was depressed, which is where a lot of that kind of music came from. Oh,
we also had our Christmas show, right? And then
we sang Holly Jolly
Oh, they
Christmas.
have Holly Jolly Burl Lives. That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah. And then actually there was some staging involved in a Holly Jolly Christmas. I mean, from the time I was very little, I always assumed I would someday marry Jim, and things went horribly wrong. But so during, and I think everybody thought that it was like an arranged marriage
That's right.
from the time
we were meant.
two.
We were meant to be.
We really were meant to be.
And we probably still are.
We are meant to be, except for I could not live with all the classical music. But I'm happy for the rest of you, don't get me wrong. So,
Still come to our concerts.
oh, definitely. Oh, I wouldn't miss the Mendelssohn. I think I already missed the Mendelssohn. So we did a performance. We did all the elementary schools in Sudbury at a Christmas concert. Just our group, the Hillbilly Seven. And
Yeah.
Jim's mom made red bow ties for us out of felt. They were clip-ons. And when we sang "Have a Holly Jolly Christmas," there's a line where Burl Ives goes, "Kiss her once for me," and Jim, we were in maybe the 4th grade that year.
Right, I think we're fourth,
And
yeah.
and Jim was instructed to lean towards me and leer. Very effective. Very effective.
That brings me to the question of just like where our world is today, and particularly the tumult that's just unfolding around us, and this possibility that justice may be able to take a big step forward through this rupture and this wounding and the pain that's sort of evident now. We thought that the pandemic was the big crisis of our time. Now all of a sudden we have this kind of parallel one that in a way goes even deeper and farther back. And the two of those are they're not really clashing, they're almost aligning in a certain way, that I just find sort of incredible. And, you know, there's all over the world, institutions and businesses are kind of going up and down. And, you know, I'm not such a business guy, so I'm fine if some businesses just die. But I do worry about what it's like if an arts organization, like even our Alexandria Symphony, you know, can't quite find its way forward out the other side of all of this. So I'm just wondering, with your vast experience and around specifically the New York Philharmonic, where you guys were the iconic American orchestra, sort of setting the tone for what classical music was here. You know, how do you have any advice for an organization like ours, this beautiful, well-meaning and spunky and ambitious regional orchestra that's you know, is dealing with the future that none of us can quite know what's going to be?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big topic, and I don't know the answers. I've gone through an incredible range of emotions and reactions to the situation, or the multiplicity of situations that we find ourselves kind of enmeshed in. It's easy to get pessimistic and even cynical. There are obviously such powerful forces that are working over time to divide people. But at the end of the day, I have to say that I'm hopeful. I think that there is more good than evil in the world, and I think most people have a clear moral compass and want to do the right thing and have the right feelings and actually believe that we're all equal and deserve equal opportunities, and should be treated fairly. Some of the loudest voices are disputing that right now. Which is, I think, tragic. I think what we're seeing is nothing less than a battle for the soul of America. It's really that big a deal, without getting into the question of whether the society should be open or we should be locked down. From my standpoint, it's been fascinating to see what has happened to the cultural life that we are seeing. And a lot of it has gone online. A lot of it has gone into Zoom meetings like the one we're doing right now.
Exactly.
So many musicians have played music online and made recordings, and many people have been doing recordings sort of with themselves, like you've done yourself, with playing and singing and doing different parts, and there's been a kind of outpouring of generosity and sort of desire to share music and art and culture that has been beautiful and inspiring. And there's also been an incredible need, I think, shown on the other side, on the receiving end. People have really wanted to watch concerts and to look at the Met Opera broadcast that they've been broadcast. It's been unbelievable. And interestingly, the live performances that I have been doing in Stockholm, because Sweden never really shut down. I mean, there are no audiences, no live audiences, but we've been doing live streaming concerts. The concerts have been, put out on the internet, and people from around the world have been able to see them. And the response has been kind of impassioned. People are so appreciative that we're doing this. And it's interesting because the idea that you're able to look at your computer screen or your iPad screen and see a concert that is being streamed live, so you know that on the other end, that's actually happening at this moment, that's become it's become important. People
a benchmark.
Really,
it means something to people.
Yeah,
that's right.
That actually is happening now. To me, that's actually an encouraging sign. It shows that this connection that we make as musicians with other people is so important. And that's what an orchestra like yours, the Alexandria Symphony, is really all about. And I think now is the time I don't feel competent to really speak about these lofty issues, but as a humble musician, I believe and I really think that it's important not to let these things die away. This is a moment to keep optimism and keep the possibility of human connection through art and music as alive as possible. And the fact that, it's not just the New York Philharmonic. Of course, the New York Philharmonic is, a big, famous, iconic organization that I hope, survives this crisis, healthily. But it's all the people around the country who are doing good work and providing art and music and culture and humanity. That's what we need more than ever. I think things could go, let's not say many ways. Let's say could go two ways at this point in our country. If it goes the right way, the right way. But the thing that's important is that people not lose hope, because the worst thing that could happen is to allow cynicism and apathy to set in. And somehow supporting dynamic arts organizations is, I think, one of the clearest and strongest ways that we can hold on to our sense of hope.
Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun. I say it's alright. Little darling, it's been a long, cold, lonely winter. Little darling, it feels like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun. I say it's alright. Little darling, the smiles returning to the faces. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun. I say it's alright. Sun, 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 here it comes. 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 Little darling, I feel that ice is slowly melting. Little darling, it feels like years since it's been clear. Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun. I say it's alright. Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun. I say it's alright. It's alright.
Hi, my name is Claire Schwab. I'm a member of the Board of Trustees for the Alexandria Symphony. And today I join our conductor, Jim Ross, our board president, Melinda Wilcox, and our executive director, George Hansen, and his staff in thanking you for joining us for this virtual event. As the chair of this event for the last 2 years, I'm excited that we have reinvented this celebration and can share our music and entertainment with you. I'm sad that we're not gathering together today in Donnie's lovely garden, enjoying each other's company, bidding on great auction items, and sipping wine and eating great food together. But we will next year. As one who loves the Alexandria Symphony for the beauty it brings and all the other great things it does for the community, I want to appeal to the larger audience watching this virtual event today. Alexandria is blessed with this musical treasure, and we would love to see more people in our audience and attending and sponsoring our great events throughout the year. Dinner and a concert is, in my opinion, the perfect date. And if you go to the Sunday concert, brunch. If you have young children or teenagers who are studying or love music, we encourage you to join us and bring them with you. The gift of music appreciation is what every child should have. Please visit our website for details about our upcoming 2021 musical season and our events. They are on our website, www.alexsim.org. Thank you again for joining us online, and I hope to see you in person at one of our upcoming events or concerts this year. Thank you.
Just play anything.
Oh, that's one of the new pieces that people haven't really heard of. It's more. So that was the struggle of life.
There we are.
Yeah, see? Has anyone ever made has anyone ever composed a classical song about real estate? That's what I've always wondered.
We should probably commission it for
Yeah.
our orchestra because
So
a lot of
someone-
people care about real estate around our
So
orchestra.
someone drives, they're driving. Okay, do the driving music. Okay, there they are. They're driving along. And they see a for sale sign. And they see the picture of the realtor on the for sale sign. That always gets them. And there's a low shrubbery in front of the house. And they see on the sign that there's 4 bathrooms and 3 bedrooms. And that's very important in these times. They slowly drive by. They pull in the driveway. And they go up. There's an open house. They go up. They go into the house. The door opens. And a lady with a scarf tied around her neck talks to them. And she says, spacious. Play spacious. And then she looks into the bathrooms and the tiles coming off the walls. It's just not what they had in mind. And then she remembers they have 6 children. But the price. The price is right. What is this song? I attempt from love's sickness to fly.
I don't know, Rosie.
I've never heard of this song. I attempt from love's sickness to
I thought that
fly.
was always one of the strangest titles I've ever
It is a strange title. It's written by Delta. I attempt from love's sickness to fly. Oh yeah.
Can you feel it?
I feel myself flying
The air
from
under your
love's
wings.
sickness. That reminds me. Do you remember?
Hi, I'm Virginia Senator Mark Warner, and more importantly, a fellow Alexandria resident. Today, I'm pleased to welcome you to this great virtual event for the Alexandria Symphony Orchestra. As we all know, music is an incredibly important part of life, particularly during times like these. Music, the arts, are about who we are, how we live, how we relate, even if it happens to be virtually at this moment in time. The truth is, we know we won't be listening to the symphony in person this year, but it still is incredibly important to allow the Alexandria Symphony Orchestra to share its great music with all of us, albeit sometimes remotely. I'd like to take a moment to thank Donnie and Melinda and Maestro Jim Ross and the entire Alexandria Symphony Orchestra for its continued involvement in our great community. From its music education programs to the scholarship program, the Alexandria Symphony Orchestra continues to dedicate its commitment to our community. So for 77 years of great music, for 77 years of great support to Alexandria, thank you, Alexandria Symphony Orchestra, and for many, many years to come, congratulations.
Hello everyone, I'm George Hansen, Executive Director of the Alexandria Symphony Orchestra. We're so pleased that you've been able to join us for this really fun event, Garden Sounds. You know what's great about American orchestras and American cities is they choose for themselves, those communities, what sort of cultural life they're going to have. And for over 75 years, Alexandria has chosen to support the Alexandria Symphony as it presents live, professional orchestral music and one of the finest music education programs in the country. Now, the way you can help support that wonderful effort is by texting. Text the title Garden Sounds to 703-991-4171. Or you can go to our website, alexsim.org, and look for the donate button. It's been a real pleasure working with the incredibly talented musicians of the ASO, remarkable guests like Alan Gilbert, Paula Poundstone, and of course, our very, very gifted Maestro Jim Ross. Thanks to all of you, and I hope to see you all soon at a real concert.